Discover the incredible story of a girl who saved a hurt fox, revealed 18 years later as a heartfelt tale of compassion. Emma had just stepped out of Maplewood Elementary when the bell's final ring chased her down the dusty path. The air was thick with summer warmth, and the fields rolled out before her like a golden sea of wildflowers dancing in the gentle breeze. But today, everything felt different. The thrill of returning home crashed around her heart as she veered off the beaten trail into the thick grass. That's when she saw it, a hurt fox, its delicate frame trembling and eyes wide with fear. Kneeling beside the creature, Emma's heart raced. She felt an invisible bond between them, as if they were two souls understanding each other's pain. The fox's fur shone with dirt and vulnerability, and in that moment, time stood still. Emma could hear her parents' voices in her head, words of wisdom wrapped in love, always help those in need. Without thinking, she gingerly scooped the wounded animal into her arms, cradling it close. It was a weight that felt both heavy and liberating. Days turned into nights as Emma turned her family's small kitchen into a makeshift clinic. Bandaging the fox's leg with torn sheets, she poured her heart into nursing it back to health. Every wag of its tail ignited a spark of hope within her. Yet whispers surrounded her like a suffocating fog. The townsfolk saw her as foolish, a girl wasting precious resources on a dangerous animal, when her family barely made ends meet. They should focus on what matters, they'd murmur, heads shaking as they watched her stubbornly care for the fox. It hurt. The weight of their judgment pressed down on her small shoulders, and Emma often found herself sitting alone under the old maple tree, feeling the sting of loneliness. The connection she had forged with the fox illuminated her compassion, but the town dimmed that light with scorn. As years passed, Emma blossomed into a young woman filled with passion for wildlife. Returning to Maplewood felt like stepping into a time capsule, but change hung heavy in the air. News broke that a businessman wanted to transform the woods, the very sanctuary where she once healed the fox, into a new shopping complex, a promise of progress. But at what cost? Her heart raced as she stood before the familiar landscape, memories flooding back. Emma's spirit burned with a fierce determination. She couldn't let this happen. Calling upon the values her parents instilled, she felt that same compassion ignite within her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emma gathered her courage, standing before her old friends and neighbors, her resolve like steel. Could she inspire change in hearts hardened by caution? Would they remember the girl who had once saved a delicate creature, or would they dismiss her as just another voice? The ghosts of her past whispered in the winds as she raised her voice in defense of the land, determined to awaken their compassion. As hope and doubt collided in her chest, an unexpected figure from her childhood emerged from the crowd. Emma's heart skipped a beat. Could this person challenge the very essence of how she viewed compassion and community? The future of Maplewood? And perhaps the spirit of the fox hung in the balance. Emma's heart raced as she spotted the familiar face cutting through the murmuring crowd. It was Jack, her childhood friend, the boy who once shared secrets on the swings and dreams beneath the stars. He had always had a way of lighting up her life, but now, standing there with an air of authority, he felt distant, almost unrecognizable. "Emma," he called out, his voice booming above the clamor. "What are you doing?" The words struck her like a physical blow. They were laced with confusion rather than judgment, but they pulled her from her thoughts. "I'm protecting the woods, Jack. They want to tear it down for another shopping complex. This is where we grew up. This is our home." Jack's brow furrowed, his normally warm eyes shifting toward uncertainty. "You can't just stop progress. People want jobs, new stores. They don't see the woods as you do." Emma felt her stomach twist. Progress? She thought about the laughter and the magic of those woods, the hidden trails, the secrets shared under the canopy of stars. "But we can't sacrifice nature for profit." Her voice cracked with emotion. "This place means something. It's not just land, it's alive." She watched as his expression softened, but was still anchored by doubt. Turning to the crowd, Emma prepared herself to battle the tides of skepticism and indifference once more. We can create a new way forward without destroying what we love. Imagine eco-friendly shops, trails for everyone to enjoy. Murmurs flowed through the crowd. Some nodded, others crossed their arms, skeptical of her vision. Emma's breath quickened. She dug deep within, searching for the strength that had once carried her through sleepless nights caring for the fox. "Remember when we found that baby bird and nursed it back to health?" she continued, locking eyes with Jack. "Or the time we got lost in those woods, only to stumble upon the most beautiful clearing. We owe it to ourselves, and to those memories, to fight for this place." A ripple of recognition moved through the crowd. Emma saw faces lighting up with memories, slowly softening against the overwhelming practicalities of their daily lives. Yet some remained rooted in skepticism. The old fears echoed back in her mind, warning her that she may just be fighting a losing battle. Jack stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You do realize not everyone thinks the way you do, right? Some people need those jobs. It's not easy, Emma." His gaze was filled with both sadness and admiration. "I know," she whispered back, the intensity of the moment settling in. "But we can make a change. Together, we can show them that hope exists." As the crowd buzzed with emotions, a weight settled on her heart. Emma took a deep breath, feeling a spark of hope flicker as she clung to her vision. She had to reach them. She believed in a better future for Maplewood, a future where nature and community thrived side by side. Emma turned back toward the crowd, her voice rising above the doubt. "I need your help. We can ignite change. If we stand together, those who love this land and its spirit, we can make them listen." Suddenly, a murmur broke through the crowd as a figure emerged from the back, waving a photograph. Emma's heart skipped again, racing with uncertainty. Who was this new voice in the mix? What change could this person bring to their fight? And would it be one of hope, or something else entirely? A hush fell over the crowd as all eyes turned to the figure. Emma squinted, trying to make out the details. The woman was tall and wearing a weathered denim jacket, clutching a photograph like it was the key to saving them all. She was an unfamiliar face, yet there was an intensity in her eyes that captured Emma's attention. "Everyone, please listen," the woman called out, her voice steady, breaking through the silence that had enveloped the gathering. "I have something important to share." Emma's heart raced. What could this stranger possibly have to say that could influence the crowd? She felt a flicker of trepidation. After all, they had come here to defend something precious. She could feel Jack's presence beside her, curiosity mirrored on his face. The woman stepped forward, holding the photograph high above her head. The image was slightly faded, showing a group of children gathered around a small fox, its eyes glinting with mischief and wonder. A sense of nostalgia washed over Emma, and she took a step closer to the front of the crowd. "Does anyone here recognize this?" the woman asked, her voice strong yet soft. "That little fox was rescued by us years ago when we were children. We found him abandoned in these very woods." Gasps echoed from the crowd as the memories surfaced, moments shared long ago in a simpler time. Emma's mind raced back, connecting dots. "What did you just say?" she managed to ask, her throat tight with emotion. "You found him here?" "Yes," the woman replied, her eyes gleaming with recognition. "I'm Mia. I live down the road from here. We nursed him to health together, the kids from Maplewood. I had no idea you were still fighting for the woods. That fox, we called him Sparky. He was our link to this place." A wave of warmth enveloped Emma. They were all part of something bigger. It wasn't just her fighting for the woods. It was them, too. "Sparky saved us as much as we saved him," she exclaimed. "He taught us the importance of caring for this land, for every creature that calls it home." The crowd began to murmur again, but with a different tone. Hope and memories intermingled, igniting old passions from within. Faces once set in skepticism were now softening, reflecting the hearts that echoed Emma's fight. "What do you have in mind?" Jack asked Mia, his authority replaced with curiosity. Mia glanced around at the gathering, her expression transforming into one of determination. "We can band together, just like we did back then. We need to show everyone this land is alive with hope. It's our responsibility to protect it." She lowered the photograph, holding it close to her heart. "But we need to act fast before those plans for the shopping complex become irreversible." Emma's pulse quickened. What are you suggesting? Mia smiled. We gather stories, memories, and images from those who cherish the woods. We create an exhibit to showcase the beauty of this place, not just to Maplewood, but to the world. We remind everyone why these woods matter. Loud murmurs erupted through the crowd, excitement bubbling to the surface. Emma looked at Jack, and she saw a spark ignite in him too. It was the same fire they had felt as children, united in their love for nature. Could they really pull this off? The gathered crowd was shifting, questioning if they had the power to reclaim their memories, their beliefs, and their home. Yet Emma felt something more, an adventure about to begin. Could they inspire enough to save the heart of Maplewood? As she stood there, electric with possibilities, the question rolled through her mind. Could their collective voices become a roar powerful enough to stop the impending destruction? The energy in the air crackled. Emma could feel it in her bones as Mia's words hung between them like a promise. She took a deep breath, letting hope swell in her chest, pushing aside the anxiety that had gripped her for days. Beside her, Jack leaned in closer, his eyes bright with determination. What do we do first? He asked, a hint of excitement breaking through his usual calm demeanor. Let's break up into groups, Mia suggested, her gaze sweeping across the crowd. Each group can focus on a different aspect. Some can gather stories, others can take photos, and some can start mapping out the area we want to highlight. The crowd buzzed with energy now, the flicker of enthusiasm spreading like wildfire. Emma's heart swelled. They weren't just talking anymore. They were preparing to take action. The thought of organizing the voices of her community was invigorating. Okay, let's get started, Emma exclaimed, her voice rising above the chatter. Let's meet back here in 2 weeks with what we've found. We can use the community center for our exhibit. It'll be a place where everyone can come and share, see, and feel what these woods mean to us. As people began clustering together, Emma spotted an elderly man standing a bit away from the crowd. His weathered face portrayed years of memories, and she recognized him as Mr. Thornton, the town's unofficial historian. He had spent countless afternoons sharing stories about the land they stood on. Suddenly, a thought sparked in Emma's mind, and she approached him. Mr. Thornton, she called out, can you help us gather the history of these woods? You know so much about it. His eyes lit up, and for a brief moment, she saw a young man filled with dreams reflected back at her. I'd be honored, Emma. These woods have seen so much, and it's vital we breathe life back into them. With a renewed sense of purpose, Emma felt grounded as she walked back toward the groups forming. She had the support of her community, the heart of it, beating like that little fox they had once saved all those years ago. In the next few days, Emma and Jack set up meetings around town, encouraging people to share their stories about the woods. Stories flowed in, tales of adventures, cherished friendships, and connections made under the tree canopy. With each story, Emma felt her resolve strengthen. She began imagining the classroom at the exhibit filled with laughter, memories, and photographs illustrating the bond the community shared with nature. But as the 2 weeks passed, the clock ticked ominously in the background. Developers were still pushing for permits, and time felt like it was slipping through their fingers. What if it's not enough? Jack asked one night, as they were putting up posters around town. What do you mean? Emma asked, pausing her work and looking at him. What if they see our exhibit but don't care? What if we find out that the developers have made their decision before we even get the chance to show them what this place means to us? Emma felt a knot in her stomach. We won't know unless we try, she insisted, but doubt crept in. She couldn't shake the feeling of urgency and fear. They needed more than just stories. They needed tangible proof. The night before the exhibit, Emma lay awake, replaying everything in her mind. She thought about Sparky, the children, and how they had once had the power to make a difference. It was possible for history to repeat itself. She just had to believe it. Finally, she drifted into sleep, thoughts mixed with the echoes of laughter from their childhood days. But just as she began to dream, a terrifying thought struck her. Would they really be able to save the woods in time? As the first light of dawn broke, a new idea began to form, one that could turn their exhibit into something far more impactful. Emma's heart raced as the possibilities danced in her mind. What if they needed to go beyond memories and stories? What if the answer lay somewhere hidden in the forest, waiting for them to uncover it? Emma awoke with the sun breaking through her curtains, illuminating her room. But instead of peace, her mind raced with possibilities. What if the woods held something more? Heart pounding, she couldn't push the thought aside. There was a history here that was not just written in words or captured in memories. An instinctual part of her sensed it, something tangible, a physical connection that could unite the community and show the developers the value of these woods. She slipped out of bed, determination curling every finger as if grasping for the energy around her. She quickly dressed and headed downstairs, where Jack was already finishing breakfast, the smell of pancakes wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. "Jack," she said, urgency edging her tone, "what if we go into the woods today? I think we need to find something that represents why this place is so special." His eyebrows knitted together. "You mean like what? A few pretty rocks?" "No, I mean something meaningful, some sign that links all the stories people have told us. It could be a rare flower, an old tree, anything that showcases why these woods matter," Emma replied, her heart racing with the thrill of planning an adventure. He set his fork down, curiosity lighting his eyes. "Okay, I'm in, but we need to think about how we're going to present this. I mean, it can't just be us saying, 'Hey, look what we found.'" Emma nodded, already making mental notes. "We'll document it. Pictures, journals, everything we discover. I want to capture the magic." Before they set off, Emma quickly dashed to her room and grabbed her camera, a notepad and a pen. She could feel it. Today could shift everything. As they stepped into the woods, sunlight streamed through the leaves like spilled gold. Every rustle and whimper of the forest felt alive, whispering secrets just for the two of them. Emma breathed in deeply, filled with the earthy scent of moss and rich soil, grounding her. They wandered deeper, feeling the familiar energy pulse around them. With each step, a rhythm of hope played in Emma's heartbeat. She remembered the stories of childhood, of climbing trees and searching for treasure with Jack and their friends. Today was another chapter of that story, just deeper and more mature. "I can't believe how beautiful it still is," Jack murmured, glancing around. "It feels like time stands still here." Emma paused beneath a magnificent oak tree, its branches stretching wide as if to embrace everything below. "What if we find something near here?" she proposed. "Something ancient and incredible." With renewed purpose, they began to search. Hours melted away as they uncovered small wonders, delicate flowers that nestled in the grass, tiny wildlife peeking out to observe, and even nature's artwork etched in knots on the trees. But Emma could feel the heat of urgency growing within her. They needed something that would really resonate. Then, amid their explorations, a flicker of movement caught her eye. In a small clearing, an enormous rock formation jutted from the earth, its surface painted with vibrant lichen. Jack followed her gaze, and they wandered closer. As they approached, Emma's breath hitched. Hidden behind the rocks, there was an old, worn plaque partially covered in moss. Crouching down, Emma cleared away the damp foliage to reveal faded letters. The words were hesitant at first, then clear. "Preserved by the generations who loved this land." Emma felt tears prick her eyes. It wasn't just a relic. It could be the heart of their whole project. "Jack, this is it," she said, voice choked with emotion. "This is our story. We have to bring this back." With a fire igniting within them, they began documenting everything. But as they prepared to leave, Emma could suddenly feel that the developers' looming threat was still out there. Would this be enough to sway them? With that thought echoing in her head, she clenched her fists. Today was not just for discovering history, it was about their future, about fighting for all they loved. As they made their way back, a heaviness settled in the air around them, reminding Emma that while something incredible had been unveiled, bigger challenges loomed ahead. What if this plaque could save the woods, but their time was running out? As they started their trek back, Emma's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, her heart pounding with every crunch beneath their feet. The plaque felt significant, a beacon in the fight against the impending development, but it also felt like a weight on her conscience. What if they couldn't convince the community to help? What if the developers didn't see the value in what they had found? "Do you think it'll work?" Jack's voice was soft, breaking through her anxious reverie. "What? The plaque?" Emma replied, glancing sideways as they walked. I don't know. We have to make the case for it. Jack kicked a small stone, watching it bounce away. It's just that people don't always care about history unless it's flashy or something. I mean, it's just a piece of old metal to a lot of folks. Emma felt a surge of frustration. It's not just a plaque. It's a connection to our past, our community. It's proof that generations before us cared about this land, and so should we. Jack sighed, his expression serious. I get that. But what if it's not enough? What if we can't get them to see what makes these woods so special? Taking a deep breath, she tried to maintain her focus. Instead of giving in to doubt, she had to draw strength from the moment. Let's just get back and talk to everyone. Our friends, the town council, they'll help us collect more stories. If we can show them that this place is not just trees but a home filled with memories, maybe that'll shake things up. Maybe they'll join our cause. With renewed vigor, they pressed on, sharing thoughts about how they could gather the community's stories. What memories would they highlight? How could they share the love that so many felt for the woods? And for each idea they tossed back and forth, Emma felt a flicker of hope ignite in her chest. But the unresolved knot of anxiety still clenched tightly in her stomach. Would it really work? Even as they dreamt of what could be, the truth hung ominously overhead. Developers were relentless, and time dwindled with each passing day. Finally, they reached the edge of the woods and stepped back into the sunlight. The brightness felt almost mocking. The real world was waiting, and they needed a plan. Gathering their tablets and notebooks, they sat in the grass just outside the entrance of the woods, a place that had always felt like home. Let's write a list, Emma suggested, enthusiasm returning. A list of everything we want to do, all the people we need to talk to, the stories we need to find. As they began deliberating, a low rustle captured their attention from the corner of their eyes. What was that? Jack glanced around, the atmosphere suddenly shifting. Before Emma could answer, the underbrush rustled again, and out stumbled a small fox. Its leg was bloodied and it trembled, eyes wide with fear. Emma's heart sank. "Oh no, poor thing," she murmured. The sight of the hurt animal pierced her hope-filled bubble, replacing it with concern and empathy. "Emma, we should go check on it. It looks hurt," Jack urged, his voice full of urgency. Emma felt a surge of instinct, a call to act. She knew they had to do something, yet her mind raced back to their mission. What if she couldn't help save this creature and still protect the woods? "We can't just leave it," she replied, stepping cautiously closer. "This little guy needs us." As she crouched to observe the fox, she knew their day was taking another unexpected turn. But wouldn't it be worth it if they could save not just the woods, but the creatures who called it home too? Emma reached out her hand slowly, feeling the weight of not only their mission ahead, but the lives they intertwined with every step. Would they be able to save the fox and still realize their dream for the forest? With that thought swirling in her mind, she whispered softly, "It's okay. We're here to help." Emma's heart raced as she inched closer to the trembling fox. Its wide, fearful eyes dug deep into her soul, reflecting her own uncertainty and determination. "Stay still, little guy," she whispered, her voice soothing, even if her insides were churning. Jack knelt beside her, his gaze fixed on the injured creature. "Do you think it's hurt bad?" he asked, worry evident in his tone. "I don't know," Emma admitted, her eyes scanning the fox's small body. Blood matted its fur, a stark reminder of how fragile life could be. She sensed that this moment was bigger than the fox's injury. It was about compassion, connection. The woods, the history, the community, they all felt intertwined in this one act of kindness. "We should do something," Jack insisted, his voice steadying. "We can't just leave it here." "What if we can't do it right? What if we make it worse?" Emma glanced back at Jack, a weight settling in her chest. "I get it, but if we don't try, it will suffer." Jack's determination lit a spark within her. He was right. This was their chance to prove that they cared, not just for the plaque or the woods, but for every living thing that called it home. Taking a deep breath, Emma extended her hand, palm open. "Easy now, we're here to help." The fox flinched but held its ground, sensing their intentions. Emma felt every heartbeat thudding like a drum in her ears. This tiny creature needed them. "Let's see what's wrong," she murmured, inching closer. Jack grabbed his backpack and rifled through it, pulling out a few supplies they used for community cleanup days. "Maybe we can wrap its leg," he suggested. As Jack gently approached with a bandage, Emma felt a warmth bloom in her chest. This was exactly why she fell in love with the woods, the sense of community, the desire to help one another. Every story, every moment was a step towards something greater. With Jack's help, they carefully wrapped the fox's leg. It was a challenge, trying to keep the frightened animal calm and still, but somehow, they found a rhythm. Emma whispered soft reassurances while Jack held the fox steady. Time faded into the background, and all that existed was their shared purpose. "Okay, we need to get it to a vet," Jack said after they secured a rough bandage. "There's a clinic a few miles away." Emma nodded, urgency flooding her thoughts. "But how do we carry it?" Jack looked around, spotting an old cardboard box nearby. "That should work." They crafted a makeshift bed, lined the box with grass, and lifted the fox gently, placing it inside. Its tiny body relaxed just a little, as if sensing their goodwill. As they prepared to leave, Emma glanced back at the woods. This place held 1,000 stories, memories carved into its trees and whispers in the winds. And now it was also a sanctuary for the vulnerable, just as it had been for her all these years. "Do you think we'll be able to save it?" she asked, doubt creeping into her voice again. Jack looked her directly in the eye, his resolve unshakable. "We have to believe we can." With that, they hurried toward the road, hearts pounding with hope and fear. The fox nestled safely in its box. The task ahead felt daunting, but Emma couldn't ignore the surge of faith that accompanied their mission. What if saving this fox was just the beginning? What if this small act of compassion sparked something greater in their town, a movement to protect the woods, to honor the past? As they rushed forward, feelings of uncertainty morphed into determination. This was their opportunity to forge real change. But just then, Emma noticed something out of the corner of her eye, a flicker of movement in the trees watching them. "Did you see that?" she gasped, heart racing again. "What?" Jack answered, turning to look. "Something's there." The woods felt alive, and she sensed that their journey was just beginning, possibly leading them to revelations they never anticipated. With the fox gently cradled in the makeshift box, Emma's mind spun with questions. She turned her gaze back to the trees, that flicker of movement still nagging at her thoughts. What was watching them? Her heart thrummed loudly in her ears, pulsing with both excitement and dread. "Let's keep moving," Jack urged, glancing nervously at the forest. "Whatever it was, it's probably just a deer or something." "Maybe, but it felt different," Emma replied, her voice barely above a whisper. It wasn't just curiosity. It was a stirring sensation that made her skin tingle. They pressed on, the sound of their footsteps mingling with the rustling leaves and the light chirping of birds overhead. As they neared the road, a sense of urgency wrapped around them like a tight cocoon. Emma could feel the weight of the fox's small presence in the box beside her, its fragile life hanging in the balance. She thought of all the creatures that had called the woods home before, each one deserving of care, just as the fox was now. "We can make a difference," she thought, determination solidifying in her chest. "We just have to get this little guy to the vet." They reached the edge of the road and the world spilled out before them, cars zooming by, the chatter of people and the distant sound of laughter. It was a stark contrast to the calm they had left behind. Emma's gaze darted around, scanning for any sign of the flicker she had seen. "Where are we going?" Jack's voice cut through her thoughts, snapping her back to the present. "To the vet on Main Street. We need to cross here." She pointed toward a crosswalk, but something caught her eye again, that strange movement just beyond the shadows of the trees. "Hold on," she said, hesitating. The woods seemed to come alive again, branches swaying as if trying to communicate some secret. "What if we're not alone?" Jack frowned, clearly not sharing her sentiments. "Emma, we don't have time for this. The fox needs us." "Just give me a second," she insisted, stepping back from the road as she squinted into the thicket. Then, out came not just any creature, but another fox. This one appeared larger, its fur sleek and vibrant. It moved gracefully, stopping just short of the edge where the underbrush met the sidewalk. Jack gasped, trying to pull her away from the chilling sight, but Emma felt magnetic pull toward it. As it stared back at her, a flicker of recognition sparked within her. Was it possible that this fox was a sibling, or perhaps the mate of the one they were trying to save? Her mind raced with possibilities. "Something's not right," Jack murmured. "We can't linger." "Just wait," Emma snapped, feeling a swell of protectiveness for both the fox in the box and this newfound presence. She instinctively raised her hand to shield the small creature nestled within the cardboard. In that moment, the larger fox's eyes transformed, a knowing look passing between them. The air felt heavy with unspoken words. Emma's heart ached as she sensed a deeper connection. The woods were calling to her in ways she couldn't yet articulate. "Emma," Jack's voice interrupted her trance, "we need to go." With a heavy heart, Emma turned, reluctantly going back toward the road. The urgency surged within her, but so did an overwhelming weight of uncertainty. "Will the vet even be able to help?" she thought as she and Jack stepped onto the busy street, the sounds of the town drowning her inner thoughts. But little did she know, their encounter had only begun to unravel an even greater mystery within the woods, one that could change everything about what they thought they knew, not just about wildlife, but about themselves. As the vet clinic came into view, Emma's gut twisted with a mix of hope and anxiety. The journey ahead felt monumental, but they were unprepared for what awaited them just inside those doors. "What if this is more than just saving a fox?" she pondered aloud. Jack glanced at her, confusion etched across his face. "What do you mean?" "Something is shifting. I can feel it." And just then, the front door of the clinic opened, an unexpected figure emerging that would change their lives forever. Emma's breath caught in her throat. Who was this mysterious stranger? Emma stood frozen as the figure emerged from the vet clinic. It was a woman, tall and graceful, with hair as wild as the forest itself, cascading around her shoulders like a dark waterfall. The sunlight wrapped around her form, giving her an ethereal glow. Emma felt a strange shiver go up her spine. Something about this woman felt familiar, as if she were a part of the very fabric of the woods behind them. "Emma," Jack urged, his voice tinged with concern. "Are you okay?" I think so." She couldn't take her eyes off the woman. As if sensing their presence, the woman turned her piercing gaze toward them. A warm smile bloomed on her face, yet Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they had met before in some other time, some other place. "What brings you two to the clinic today?" the woman asked, her voice smooth and inviting. Emma felt the weight of the box in her arms, the fragile life inside it suddenly feeling heavier. "We found a fox. It's hurt," she blurted out, her heart racing. "We need to help it." The woman's expression flickered with understanding. "Then you've come to the right place. I'm Dr. Moreau, the veterinarian here, and I believe the fox is lucky to have found you." Jack shifted nervously. "Is there really a chance to save it?" Dr. Moreau stepped closer, her gaze locked onto the box. "Every chance. But I must warn you, some creatures carry stories deeper than we know. Are you ready to hear such tales?" Emma's pulse quickened. She nodded, feeling a spark of destiny in Dr. Moreau's words. There was something important about this moment, something that felt bigger than a simple trip to the vet. "Bring the fox inside. I'll take a look," Dr. Moreau instructed, gesturing toward the clinic. As they stepped inside, the scent of antiseptic mixed with something earthy, reminding Emma of the woods. The clinic was brighter than she expected, filled with images of animals in healing and art depicting the wild. A chill raced down her spine, resonating with the wildness she felt earlier. Dr. Moreau led them to an examination room, her demeanor calm and steady. "Set the box here," she said softly as they reached a tabletop. Emma gently placed the box down, her heart twisting with worry. What if it was too late? Dr. Moreau carefully opened the box, her hands powerful yet gentle. The fox lay weakly inside, its small chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. Emma's throat tightened. Every instinct told her the fox must be saved. As the doctor examined it, she noticed something strange. A small collar with a distinct marking, a symbol that seemed familiar yet distant. "I've seen this before," Dr. Moreau whispered, her voice barely audible. "In my family's folklore." "What do you mean?" Emma's heart raced. "There's a legend," Dr. Moreau began, glancing knowingly at her. "It tells of a kinship between foxes and those who hold them dear." Emma narrowed her eyes, the weight of her own strange connection to the woods becoming clearer. Are you saying there's more to this fox than just being hurt? Yes, there's a bond that reaches beyond the surface, Dr. Moreau explained, her eyes glinting with passion and wisdom. And if we can save it today, we might not just be healing it, but awakening a story that's been waiting to be told. Jack was still digesting the conversation, urging Emma to focus on the immediate task. What do we do? But Emma was already swept away in the spell of possibilities. What was waiting on the other side of this moment? The vet clinic faded around them as Emma's heart drummed with a need for answers. What truths lay hidden in the woods? About the fox? About herself? About the pull she felt toward both? In that charged atmosphere, Dr. Moreau leaned closer. Emma, are you ready to discover just how extraordinary your connection to this world might be? The question echoed in the air, pregnant with promise and mystery. Emma's heart raced as she realized they stood on the brink of something monumental. Would they rewrite the destiny not just of a fox, but perhaps of each other? Perhaps even of the woods themselves? As the door swung shut, sealing them within a world of awakening, Emma glanced at Jack, a flicker of trepidation in her eyes. What if we're not just saving a fox? Jack swallowed hard, a mixture of hope and fear visible in his expression. Then, what happens next? The room hummed with anticipation, and the answer loomed just beyond reach. Emma felt a surge of resolve as she locked eyes with Dr. Moreau, sensing that this moment was about far more than just saving the injured fox. I'm ready, she finally said, heart racing, as if it might burst at the seams with the weight of uncertainty and hope. Dr. Moreau nodded solemnly, her expression one of quiet strength as she prepared her tools. The path is often unclear, but sometimes it leads to extraordinary places. As the doctor carefully tended to the fox, Emma could feel her own life's threads intertwining with the creature's fate. What stories are waiting to emerge, she thought, knowing somehow that they were about to uncover layers of connection they had never imagined. Jack stood close, his anxious energy palpable. What if we lose it? He whispered, a hint of desperation creeping into his tone. Emma reached for his hand, squeezing it tightly. We won't let that happen. We're in this together. With careful, practiced movements, Dr. Moreau assessed the fox's injuries, explaining each step. Its leg is broken, but it's treatable. What it needs most is care and a bit of patience to heal. As she carefully applied a splint, Emma felt a weight lift from her chest. That's great, right? It's going to be okay, Jack breathed out, relief washing over him. Emma nodded, but her mind drifted. It's not just about healing the body, she murmured. What about the connection, the bond? Dr. Moreau paused, looking up at them with an intrigued smile. In our family lore, the fox is a symbol of wisdom and change. You may find that helping it can also lead to personal growth and transformation for you both. Emma's heart raced at the thought. What if we could help the fox not just heal physically, but also reignite that spirit of compassion in the town, she considered. Could that improve how everyone sees the woods? Yes, Jack said excitedly, an idea sparking in his eyes. Maybe if we could create a story around the fox's journey, we could use it to rally everyone, to show them the importance of protecting this habitat and the lives within it. Emma's pulse quickened. We need to share our experiences, the bond we share with this creature, to remind everyone of the ways we are all connected and the responsibility we hold. Each story matters. As the doctor finished up her work, she patted the fox gently, speaking soft words of comfort. You will recover, little one. You have a destiny to fulfill. Emma watched, absorbed in the moment, her thoughts swirling. How could they weave together their childhood experiences, the townsfolk, the stories of nature, all illuminated by this little fox? We have to create an exhibit focusing on the fox's story, Emma blurted out suddenly, determination clawing itself into her words. We can have the community come in to see its recovery process. Workshops, storytelling sessions. We could even invite local experts to discuss wildlife and conservation. Dr. Moreau smiled, recognizing the power of their vision. That would foster engagement. Everyone loves to connect with animals. The exhibit could serve as a bridge to rekindle that harmony with nature. You'd not only be helping this fox, you'd be planting the seeds for lasting change in your town. Yes! Jack's face lit up, excitement bubbling. But first, we need to make sure the fox has the best chance at recovery. As the veterinarian wrapped things up for the day, Emma felt all the fragments of their journey come together. A phoenix rising from the ashes of uncertainty and doubt. The urgency to protect the land now intertwined with something deeper. They were rewriting the narrative, one of hope, connection, and love for the environment around them. Before we launch into this, let's meet with Dr. Moreau when the fox is ready, Emma said, resolution doubling down. It'll give us powerful insights to share about the beauty of compassion. That sounds perfect, Jack agreed. With a last look at the fox settled peacefully in its clinic bed, Emma felt a rush of gratitude. This little one is going to spur something amazing. Days turned into nights. The town of Maplewood buzzed in anticipation as the word spread about the exhibit. Flyers decorated every corner, each fluttering piece calling to past generations, a reminder of shared stories and cherished memories. The townsfolk began to see through a new lens, one of interdependence and responsibility, where protecting nature went hand in hand with community well-being. On opening day, vibrant stories and photographs adorned the walls, packed with laughter, joy, and the solemnity of nature. And at the center of it all sat a beautiful, healed fox, glowing with health and spirit. Emma thought of every person who walked in and connected their past with the present, their stories embedding the woods with new life and purpose. As the exhibit gained momentum, the townspeople rallied behind Emma, Jack, and Dr. Moreau, and eventually, armed with tales of compassion, they fought together against the developers. After a series of town hall meetings, collective voices filled the air, echoing Emma's rallying cry, "Protect the heart of Maplewood, tenacity rooted in every soul." In those vibrant moments, changing hearts and minds became every bit as essential as healing the fox itself. They created a lasting legacy that started with one girl's compassion, blossoming through community spirit, an inseparable bond forged between humans and nature. And amidst it all, the fox thrived, a symbol of resilience and unity. Reflecting on the journey, Emma smiled at Jack, her heart full. We did it. We not only saved the fox, we inspired change. And with that, they turned their gaze back toward the woods, knowing that a new, beautiful chapter had begun, one defined not just by what they had saved, but by what they had chosen to protect together. Make sure to share those inspiring lessons with those you care about. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Hit that like button now to help us spread the word. We want to hear from you. Comment below with your thoughts on this incredible transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to experience this journey. True fans like you understand how important it is to support our work.